is Noni Matikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about the goat's phone that Judge Ratha and the state wants Valeria Police Station to accept that it was found in their station, and they are refusing. The station is refusing. They're like, we know nothing about that, and we are not going to form part of that conspiracy theory because that has nothing to do with us. They said that in so many words and without mentioning it, especially when it comes to who's this lady, Mrs. Mudau, Sergeant Mudau. She was not there to play cat and mouse. No, she was there to strengthen their corner, their stand as the Valeria station. Because what the hell is this? Why are they being dragged into something they know nothing about? Why are they somehow being forced to agree on something that is not on their paperwork and something that they don't know, on something that none of the cold case unit spoke to them about? So they are refusing that. They're like, no, we know nothing about the phone. So it can make sense now that the judge and the state, which is the prosecutors, want them to agree on that. Now, so yesterday, the state, as per usual, because they've been saying this, they walked into the court with a cell phone, but the police station where the phone was allegedly found just told the court, we know nothing about it. No record, no entry, no officer, no memory, and yet the court is being asked to accept it as evidence, and the court is also willing to accept it as evidence, even though the station says they know nothing about it. This is not a small contradiction. This is a chain of evidence crisis. Now, what happened in court is that the defense brought in a witness from Valeria Police Station, calm, confident, precise, and what she did was devastating. She told the court there is no OB entry, SEPS 10, there is no seizure record, SEPS 22, there is no documentation of any cell phone being found. Now, let that sink in. Because the state's entire narrative says a phone was found, that phone belongs to the accused Bongani Ntanzi, that phone means everything together. But Valeria Station is saying that phone, not from us. We have nothing of that. None of us remember such an event. It's a huge event also not to remember. So they are clearly saying, now, the phone problem, let's be clear about that. A cell phone is not just a device in court, it's a digital witness. Call records, location data, communication links, but before any of that matters, the law asks one simple question. Where did the phone come from? And right now, there is no answer, because if the station where it was allegedly found has no record, no officer, no documentation, then legally the phone has no origin. Now, the legal explosion when it comes to this is that this is where it becomes dangerous for the state. In criminal law, evidence must have a chain of custody. That means who found the phone, where it was found, who handled it, how it moved from point A to court. Break that chain and you break the evidence. Now, here is the problem. The chain doesn't start at Middleburg. The chain doesn't start in court. It must start at discovery. And right now, that starting point is missing. So the role of Judge Ratha in all of this is where things get even more interesting. The judge allows the phone evidence to come in, but understand this carefully. Judge Ratha is one of those judges that are standing with the state no matter what. He stands with the state. He doesn't care how we see it. He doesn't value our opinion on it. He's standing with the state. I don't know if, as of yet, he accepts the phone as reliable, but his actions and the things that come out of his mouth are saying he does. No, so that means he is hearing of the phone and he has to decide of the value later. So what we are watching is this: a piece of evidence enters the courtroom already damaged, and we don't know. In fact, from what we are witnessing, it sounds as if Judge Ratha accepted that the phone is there, because the other day, last week, we heard him saying, I saw the phone that was brought here in court, and Jerome Sipile was like, what phone? Where? Which court? Because the phone was never brought in the courtroom. Yet Judge Ratha claims to have seen the phone. Yes, he claimed that, and that was very shocking for all of us. Now, this is where the defense becomes very dangerous when it comes to this, and it's backfiring for the state. including Jadwata, because they don't need to block the evidence. They need to stay in. Why? They need it to stay in. Why? Because if the court later says the phone is unreliable, then the data collapses, the collection evidence, the location evidence collapses, the communication links collapse, and suddenly the state loses one of its biggest pillars. And if Judge Rata says he accepts the phone, he needs to give evidence that is proper. Why is he accepting a phone that the so-called station says knows nothing about it? He needs to explain it further. Now, bigger than a phone, this is not just about a device. This is about investigation integrity, police procedures, evidence handling. Because if one key exhibit has no origin, the question becomes, what else in this case is sitting on the same problem? Now, so the court is facing with a strange situation. A phone exists, but the place it allegedly came from says it was never with us. It was never here. We know nothing about it. And if that contradiction holds, then this is not just a weak point. This is a structural crack in the state's case. And once the crack like this starts to show, they don't close, they spread. And when it comes to the spreading of this kind of situation, the defense has won, in my view, because now this goes directly straight to the so-called visits of Mjiyako, the so-called lawyer of Ndanzi, and this goes to the so-called communication of Mjiyako with Ndanzi. This goes to the so-called confession of Ndanzi after speaking to Mjiyako. So there's a lot that is at stake, and they all know it. That is why Judge Rata will say he's a biased judge, because he's trying to force that communication via that phone, just like the state is doing. And we've seen Usibanda, not Judge Rata, doing something there that Usibanda was not prepared for. But now the record is going to prove otherwise. Nisi was objecting for something that Usibanda was saying. And then Judge Rata was like, no, we already moved there. Why is it him that is talking like that? Why is it him that is defending an objection, not Sibanda? He even says, no, we already moved to Middleburg, Njani, when we were still in Valeria. And now 2 seconds later, we were back in Valeria. Kanjan. And Usibanda agrees with the judge, but the record is not going to agree with that. Because what he was reading was, and he was dealing with, was still within Valeria. I don't know how they are going to get out of this one, but it's quite tricky, and it's quite a situation that the state has found itself on, and it's not nice, Shem. Oh, it's not nice. It's quite bad. And I understand their frustration. I understand where they are coming from, but it is what it is. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. And I will see you on our next video. Please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment. And most importantly, please make sure you are subscribed on the channel. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.